Hey guys, this is Franco from my IT and Cybersecurity Journey. As you can tell by the title of the video, your boy is officially an RHCE. That's right, a Red Hat certified engineer. Um, so let me go ahead and just show it for proof because I don't want you guys to think I'm lying. Let me see here where I put it at. Alright, so there it is, RHCE. And so let's go ahead and let me pull up a couple things here so that we can get started with the video. But um, let me just start off by saying that I, you know, I had to make my own set of labs for this because I found that a lot of the stuff online was kind of outdated or inadequate, to say the least, and I was really disappointed in a lot of the offerings out there. So I basically went ahead and I took it into my own hands based off of my experience from becoming an RHCSA a while back, and from my day-to-day tasks and any information I found on GitHub, which included the exam objectives or maybe other people's GitHub repos. Um, and I basically formulated a course, my own course, that is free, that I will link down in the description that you guys can also use. And I strongly believe that this will get you about 95% of the way to RHCE. Um, I still encourage you to see if you can find any relevant information out there for studying for the exam. There's a lot of information online, and I still think it's worth looking into. But majority of my studying was done within what I built, which was the course. So just to go over a quick overview of the course contains 20 lessons. They're timed for like 60-30 minutes, but you can turn off the timer if you wish to just do it at your own pace, which I recommend the first go around. I would say do the lessons about twice or until you get comfortable with it, and afterwards, move on to the exams. But before we dive into that I just want to I just want to say one thing that I noticed with a lot of the courses out there that you kind of have to approach hands-on exams much differently because they're not necessarily a game of memorization, right? So, for example, to me, the CompTIA exams don't really mean a lot to me because, to me, from my personal experience, the way I've prepared for those is like I treat them as a memorization bank because that's what they are. It's just a big, it's like nine, it's however many questions. You're just playing a memorization game, right? Anybody could pass those certifications in 5 days if they put enough effort into memorizing. You don't have to really understand the topics at hand in order to be able to actually pass those certifications. With this exam and the previous one I took, which was the CCAD, you know, these exams, the underlying concept that I want you guys to understand for these exams is that you are basically being tested on your ability to gather information as efficiently and quickly as possible, because they're basically testing your skill of being able to perform under pressure as if this were like a production environment. So if you have a production incident, let's say, your job is to gather information like why it's broken, how it broke, and what we need to do to fix it, right? That is basically what you're also doing for these exams. You need to understand how stuff works so that you can create solutions for it, because you're basically solving problems, right? Um, and so that's one of the things I liked a lot. Like I said in my RHCSA video for V9, Asghar Gori had a great book, the Learn by Doing book, because his style of teaching was amazing and it really resonates with me because he focuses on the how and the why instead of just having you no, hey, this is this, just do it this way, do it I don't like that style of teaching. I think that style of teaching is wrong. um I think people are better off learning on their own, reading the documentation for this exam than they are taking most courses out there. I'll be blunt. um but at the end of the day, people do need structure, and that's why I made this, because I think this provides a structure. Because what you're also doing, right, which is like an a goal of yours that might not be clear up front, but it needs to become clear, is you're kind of really just studying the objectives and scope of the exam. You don't have to go too out of scope because the exams are going to contain some crazy stuff, like oh, you need to have this Python dependency installed in your execution environment to be able to use this playbook on this set of hosts. So it's like that's like an example that I've come across like in work that I don't think is like relevant to the exam based off of the objectives because it's not specified, right? And it's asking you to do things that an RHCSA would do. So based off of my knowledge from taking the RHCSA and my experience, I curated the course and the lessons to kind of build up on that, automating tasks that I remember studying to do in my practice for the RHCSA. Um, so that's what the courses do, but they also teach you Ansible and Jinja, which, I had a feeling I would get quizzed on in the exam. And so, you know, this is now we can get into the application. So it is a this is the curriculum, but the actual application itself is a TUI. So for those of you that don't know, a TUI is a terminal user interface, kind of like Vim, and I'll show that here in a moment. Currently, at the moment, I tailored it towards Mac because that's what I use. I couldn't get the RHEL Vagrant boxes to work on my Mac, so what I had to do was I curated a um, my own box that you can use here, and it uses Alma Linux, which is like pretty damn close to what you'll see on the real thing because it's an upstream uh, version of RHEL basically. And and just to make you guys aware, I took V10. I took V10. And for V10, the exam objectives changed. So for that, I would want to get familiar with Git. That would be my main point to make in this video as well. You definitely want to know how to use Git. I'll leave it at that because that's part of the exam objectives. Um, I voiced my concerns about this on LinkedIn. I feel like what is when you take the exam, there was like kind of conflicting requirements asked of you in regards to that objective. So I would just read that very carefully when you do it because it is a bit weird. I'm not gonna get into the details, but this is it. There's a quick start. There's also a setup here in the Mac directory that you want to go over. Once you get everything set up and working, if you guys don't know how to use Vagrant, I'll show that here in a moment. I'm not gonna bring the boxes up because if not, we'll sit here all day. Or maybe I'll just do it now. So while I explain the rest of the stuff. So the way you would bring these up once you have everything set up is Vagrant up. And so what this basically does is it starts provisioning the VMs using the uh, instructions in the Vagrant file that is in that Mac directory. And so this is basically how you would launch a lesson. The getting started lesson doesn't exist. This is just an example. I got rid of it. They're all under this directory though. Examiner exams. This is from the Ansible directory. So you would use this command to go ahead and start a specific lesson. Um, Here is going over what most of these go over. And then the exams. I tried to, again, this is all from information I found online. This was before I even attempted the exam, and it was pretty damn good. When you bring up your VMs for the first time, I would run this. Again, this goes over everything. I'm not really gonna get into it, but these are the files. So this is the first lesson here. So we're gonna go ahead and start it, so you guys can kind of see what the TUI looks like. So let me go ahead and copy this. I even have the solutions. So one thing that was important to me, besides the hands-on aspect, was I like the confidence that verifying your having the application verify your work for you does because it kind of gives you confidence that you are doing things right. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna go here. I need to go into the Ansible directory from the project directory, so you can see here. This is where I'm at. Obviously, it would apply to your use case, and so I'm gonna go ahead. Since I'm on Mac here, it's this one. Oops, actually I should have it here. This lesson 1. And so this is what the TUI looks like. So most lessons are 30 to 60 minutes. You can pause the timer by pressing T. There's instructions down here as well. It seems that my Mac, my home bar is blocking it. But to verify tasks, it's V. You can verify with Shift V. And there'll be more here, but looks like they're currently getting blocked. And so this is how it goes. It kind of, I took information from the documentation and kind of just tried to put it into lessons. with work, interactive lessons that you can do work on and have it get verified as you go, just to build up your confidence with Ansible. And so you would basically, progress like this. Every lesson gets harder, so then you would go to lesson two, which is getting started.yaml. So you can just copy it, go back to the terminal, just remove the previous lesson. Lagging a little bit because my Mac is starting to get old, but and then you can move on to lesson two and read, the information I've provided for you and verify your tasks, and that would be it. Um, and so the first time you bring up the boxes, it is going to take a while. As you can see here, it's taking a minute. Um, but once it's up, you can run vagrant SSH control. That is where you will be working out of mainly. That is what contains. That is where. This is like the control host, right? Because it's supposed to simulate kind of like what I learned from my experience of doing the Ansible like course, because I had used the Red Hat learning subscription trial once, and it was kind of like this, the labs they had in there, but I think this is better in my opinion. And so um, this Ansible directory is shared between the control host and your local machine. Um, when you run the exams, you actually have to provision the control node differently. I wonder if I put that in here. I know I put it somewhere. It's probably in here. Let's see. Lab reference, maybe. No, this is. It's vagrant provision. It's in one of these. I know it's in one of these. Maybe it's this one. There's also a study guide if you want to use it. Provision. Man, where did I put that at? It's not here. Pro. Yeah. It's got to be either an examiner or. Not here. Okay. There we go. When you're ready to take your exams, this is what you'll run. And it's under how to take a practice exam in the curriculum. And so what it does is it removes Ansible Core, Ansible Navigator, and pip, creates an empty exam directory that is not shared, so that you don't always have to go and delete the files manually with your host, so that the next time you restore all your hosts to the clean slate, all that's removed so you can start from scratch. And yeah, that's it. I mean, I think, with this, you guys are pretty much set. I would say also focus on uh, looking at getting familiar with the Ansible documentation, and the lessons also go over it, but can't stress this enough. Ansible doc is your best friend. Like here's like an example. Whoops. Look, it's making my computer lag because this Mac has like 16 gigs of RAM because Apple's got a monopoly on the RAM for their Macs, but that's why I'm moving to framework for sure. But yeah, Ansible doc is going to be your best friend here. What else? What else? I would also still look around online. I still think there are some good sources out there on uh, the exam. One guy I found very useful, and I'll shout him out here. I think he did an amazing job. Let me see if I can find him. Ozzy RHCE. I think this was his name. This guy, Ozoibits. Go ahead, give him a follow. He has a pretty good like hour and a half video um, going over everything. So he was a. I watched his video as well. I gained inspiration from his video, so I'll give him a shout out here as well um, for a couple of these. But yeah, go ahead, give him a follow. Watch his he has like a video that's like an hour long. He goes over everything. Um, and yeah, that's it. Good luck to you guys. Going to for the RHCE. Um, take your time, learn how to navigate. Again, most important things I would say is learn how to navigate the documentation effectively, learn how to look up examples effectively for roles, collections, um, and get that YAML down. Oh, and the Vim, you gotta have Vim set up properly. You gotta edit that Vim RC file, man. I'll give you guys mine that I use for the exam. So what mine did is, let's see if this came up. Well, actually, I should have it on here too. Let's see. No, not on my Mac. I don't. Look, this is still provisioning. What's I gonna do? Vim. Some of like the Vim stuff you're gonna want. I think I put it in here actually. If you guys look through here, I think it is in here. Under the RHCE study guide probably. Let me see. Let's see. Cursor. Well, get familiarized with Vim. You can use auto command file type to set it to YAML. There's cursor column. There's a couple. Um, you can also look it up online. Like let's see if I can find it. Vim setup for RHCE. This one from like 5 years ago. Yeah, I would ignore. I don't know about this one. Set number. All these I used. These were all amazing. These do amazing things for you when you're using Vim on the exam. And then the only one that's missing is a cursor column. I'd use that one too. I know the short name for both of them. There's one CUL and CUC. Set local, CUL and CUC. Those are another two I would use. And that's it. All right. You guys have a good day. I wish y'all well, and I will see you guys on the next one. Wonder what the next one's gonna be.